Okay. Okay, now you can hear me. I had to get my technology going here, so I want to be like the youngins using my iPhone to do everything. So thank you for having me. I want to thank Dave Geary in the back of the room. I attended last year. I missed the first year, so this is truly an honor to be up here. And I thank the gentleman wherever he was before me, because guess where I grew up? Larkdale. So again, this is really cool. My folks moved into Larkdale in the late 60s. I was born in 69. I'm number 3 of 4 boys. So my oldest brother, Steve, he lives up in Green Bay. He didn't like the congestion down here, so he's a driver instructor up there. My brother Mike still lives in town here. He might be some of your mechanics. So he's over on Carl Court. I'm in Wakanda. Well, I just am now. So, and then my little brother, who this gentleman just asked about, he lives in Wakanda, and he's he works for a granite company, so he does stone and marble work, things like that. So we were North Siders. So he was over on the south. Actually, he lived by my brother. So my brother is off of Willow. So we lived on Marine Drive, right behind Robert Crown. My mom, who's here, who's now Laurel DeBoer, she was the rock star of our family. She raised 4 boys pretty much by herself. She was a server at a couple of historic places, Robert's House of Pancakes. As a young lad, I ventured over there, and my mom would set me up off to the side, have a nice waffle over there. I might have bussed tables, and I'm pretty sure I was under the work age. So, but unfortunately, we know what happened to that place. It burned down. So the next place my mom was a server at was over at 4 Coins. So she worked over there, and I believe somewhere between 4 Coins and Painter's Drugs when she met my future stepdad, Larry DeBoer. So again, we grew up on the north side as kids, so if you give a little perspective, we just hung out on that little short street over there. It was a little dead-end road there. We rode bikes, climbed trees, built tree forts, nothing that I'm sure all the youngins now don't do any of that stuff. So the trees that we liked climbing the best were at the end of the road. There's some big oaks over by the Reynolds property, and the Reynolds were the ones that had the typewriter joint over there at where Flavor it is now. So we would climb those trees all the time and hang out there. We'd also ride our bikes, like the gentleman mentioned. We would, which kids probably don't do that now either. We cut through either Orton on the Slocum, or we cut through, what was it, somebody's land, Farmer Brown, for Brown Street there. We would cut across that little section there, and we'd go up and we'd hang out at, I'm young, but not that young, so we would go to Ben Franklin, we'd hang Painter's Drugs, we'd be over at Ray Lissy's, we'd walk the creaky floors over at Blackburn Broughton. So I even had swim lessons over at the Village Beach. Ed Dagdick was my instructor over there, and I would eventually work with him for many years at the fire department. So one little side story is, so I played, I'm moving forward to like middle school years. I played for the Chiefs football, our little program there. And so mom worked over at the 4 Coins, either pedal power or hoof it. So I grabbed all my gear, walked over to the football field. I had to cut through where Jewel is now. It used to be the old Little League fields, and it's all overgrown. So I cut through there. I have I'm looking on my shoulder pads, there's like yellow stuff all over it. Now I know that's goldenrod, pollen, whatever it is. So, which I didn't know I was allergic to. So, going to play football practice behind the Masonic Lodge. And my coach is like, yeah, you don't look good. He goes, I don't think it looked like somebody just beat me up. So I said, well, my mom's over here. I hiked over there, and I felt embarrassed because I'm like, I'm going to scare the heck out of all these people. And so I sat down on the curb outside, and eventually somebody came over, and they're like, Laurel, I think your son is out on the thing out there. He doesn't look good at all. So she came to my rescue, fixed me all up with a little bit of Benadryl. So I was good to go and on my way. So I'm going to fast forward a little further. I'm now into high school, or pretty close to high school. Larry DeBoer and my mom are together, so we kind of had this little blended family. We still lived over on Marine Drive. I enjoyed the typical teen things, you'd sleep in, you didn't have to go to work, all this fun stuff. And my stepdad had other plans for me. So if anybody knew Larry DeBoer, he was 6-something, large man, and down the stairs I hear these things. It's like a little before noon. He opens up my door to my bedroom and woke me up with a glass of water and said, "Time to go to work." And I'm like, all right. So boom, we're over at DeBoer Ready Mix, puts me in a Ready Mix truck, drives me over to Burnett Road. They're building the Cotton Creek Apartments over there. And he said, "Meet your new boss." Don Gottschalk was the guy who was over in off of Converse over there in Island Lake. So I had no idea how to operate a shovel, let alone do any concrete, but I would learn. And so that night, my stepdad picked me up because I wasn't driving yet. He drove me to Farm and Fleet. Stuck in there. He bought me 2 pair of Big Ben pants, a pair of work boots, a pair of 5-buckle rubber boots, and a pair of gloves. And I'm like, I don't even have the money to pay for this. And he's like, "You know what? It's on me." And I said, "I'll pay you back when I work some more." He goes, "No, I'm not looking for anything in return." He goes, "This is an investment." He goes, "You're a hard worker. I see it in you. You're going to go do great things." He goes, "So there's no charge for this. I'm going to invest in it." I remember that as like, we're going to try not to get choked up, but as a part of my life where it just changed. I was like on the road to, doing all my work stuff and moving forward. So it was a cool little gesture that went a long way. So let's see where I'm at. So he bought me that stuff. And my first job after that, after I labored for him, I worked for DeBoer. So I came over there, and my first job was the Williams property. Is it Izzy Williams? Is that it? Next to the grade school. So that was the time when in the city of Chicago, a lot of the pools, people were unfortunately, they were abandoned and they were drowning in them. So there was some things like that. She was very nervous about that, so she had that pool over there. So she asked DeBoer to bring gravel over there. We filled in their pool, and that was my first job working with my stepbrother Kurt. And so we did that, continued on with DeBoer, started working in their yard. And the cool part was when I got my driver's license at 16, I was working for a family business. So I was able to get my commercial driver's license at just a few months after I got my regular driver's license, because you didn't have to wait. So if anybody knew DeBoer Ready Mix, they had a little truck. It was like a 3.5-yard mixer, and they called it a little Tonka truck. So shortly after getting my regular driver's license, Leo's taking me to Woodstock, and I'm in this truck getting my commercial driver's license. When all my friends are just barely driving their cars, I'm driving these big trucks. So I was always just amazed at how much Larry had 20 years with the gas company before he got in there, and the knowledge that Leo had from all his jobs. I was just like a sponge. I wanted to soak it all up. I wanted to learn as much as I could, and those guys pretty much knew how to fix anything. So I think it was really cool to be part of that whole thing. So working over there, we had many different jobs. Probably my least favorite job is in the wintertime. You had to clean out those cement mixers. So I was small, I guess, compared to everybody else. So they're like, "You're getting it." So you climb in the back of that thing with a little jackhammer and you go to town doing your thing. But the biggest thing you wanted to do, the secret is you want to make sure you have the keys in your pocket, because you don't want somebody to start up while you're in the back of it. So, but that was one of my least favorite things. But on another funnier note, I guess, than that would be, so there was a big silo, if anybody remembers, back in that property. It was like, 75 feet up or something like that. And at the top of that little house up there, or at the top of it's this little house, and it was a filtration system. So when the cement would come in, it would go up there and it would shake it so it stayed aerated. So one of the jobs that we had to do was we had to go up there and you have to change these bags out and rotate them. So I was home, I think I want to say it was a day off of school or something like that, midweek thing, and I'm up there with my stepdad and we're changing out these bags and doing things. So I would work a little, he would go in there and do a little bit, and then out of the corner of my eye looking, if you remember where Guys is now, that used to be Bulldogs. So I look over in the weeds over there, and there's this couple having relations. And I'm like, so I tap on my stepdad's shoulder. He said, we got a great laugh out of it. But I mean, of course, you're 75 feet up, so you can see. But down on the ground, it's all tall weeds. You cannot see anything up there. So we joked about that for a long time and thought it was a funny, definitely a funny experience that happened there. So I continue to work there through at the boards, doing many different things, and it's a family business. You work long hours, sun up to sundown. You're the first one there, the last one to leave. When I graduated from high school, my cap and gown ceremony was you walk across the stage, do your thing. I walked out to the car, threw my cap and gown in the back seat of my car. I drove to DeBoer's. There was a truck waiting there loaded, and I started working again. We worked over holidays. You know, I tried to quit probably, I don't know, my mom could probably tell you, I don't know, 6, 7 times. They say you can't quit, you're in the family, you can't leave. So, again, sun up to sundown.
Been there, done that.
What's that?
Been there, done
See,
that.
the Bushes know, and they were right behind us too, so we were close together. So, you know, my mom's like, you know, you work all these hours, you're doing all this stuff here. It's like you need to find something to do. So she found this article in the newspaper, and it would have been the summer of '88, and it said firefighters wanted. I know I'm in good company here with the Historical Society. I'm trying to track that article down. I was either in the Leader or in the Daily Herald, and
There's our online and our spot. Check it out.
hold up. Oh, I will do that then. Thank you. So I'm hunting that down. So my mom saw this little article and she showed it to me. She's working in the office and she's like, you know, what do you think of this? A little hobby. And I'm like, you know, we'll give it a try. So up to the fire department I go. I get up there and go to the orientation with my mom. And it was one of the coolest things in my career with the fire service is to be part of that process. It's all changed now. It's all, you know, whatever. Different. But it was so cool. Bill and Patty Glade from Wakanda here, and what Bill was mentioned earlier, they sat in front, like right up here in front of all you folks. We're all candidates out there, and it's like they showed you and told you about, explained to you what it was like to be a firefighter. They had all these radios laid out. They told you about getting up in the middle of dinners and all this other stuff. It was so cool. And I pretty much, as far as history in the fire department goes, I think I might be the only person that came to that orientation with my mom. Or with a mom. I don't know if my mom went with other people. So that was, I started there in the fall of '88. I went through, they did their own in-house training thing. So I people in the audience here, I've got Scott Gashler, Kevin Pine, all these guys were all my instructors and mentors through my life. I did it part-time for about 4 years, and then it came time, Dave Dado come up to me and he goes, hey, would you like to do this full-time? And I'm like, full-time? Like, I have to talk to my DeBoer family because I was still involved with them, and they're like, can you work on your days off? And I'm like, yeah, I'll work on my days off. So I took that job full-time in 1993, and it ended up to be a 35, well, I started in '88, and I just retired last year, so it turned out to be a 35-year career for me. I would have never thought about that. Yes, as kids, you always want to be like, hey, I want to be a policeman and fireman, but if it wasn't for my mom, and just an odd thing like that, she pulls the paper out and says, hey, what do you think about this? I wouldn't be where I am today, and I can't thank her for that. I mean, it just was a fluke thing, and it just it just worked out. So so I'm going to stop there because I feel like I don't want to get close to Bruce time. So I'm going to stop there and, plant the seed that, if you ever need somebody to maybe go talk about the next chapter in my life, that fire department, fire service thing, I would love to come back. But this is truly an honor to share my small little story about Wakanda, and thank you.